Hey, what's up everybody? Sutsith here. I wanted to do a guide on mutators. Not how to complete them, but how to get the most out of your Umbral Shards and, stuff like that. I made a lot of mistakes my first week. A lot of mistakes. And they were quite costly. And if I had used my Umbral Shards more efficiently, I feel like I most definitely would have been able to push a lot higher this week. So I kind of just want to show you guys what mistakes I made so that you guys don't make the same mistakes and you can get a little bit more out of your orbs and out of your mutator runs. Alright, first things first, getting your orbs. You can get 3 orbs per week. Well, the first week. After that, I believe it's only 2. So you can get your 1 orb from the faction vendor. Alright, so you can buy your 1 orb here, your 1 mutated here. You can make 1 mutated orb, and you get 1 just for completing a base Genesis, Lazarus, or Dynasty run. They'll give you 1 base one. I believe that's just a one-time thing. So yeah, that's how you want to get your mutators. This is just a quick tip that I've been doing lately that I've been finding a lot of people don't know. You can constantly refresh your quests, so that every time you do Lazarus or Genesis, you can make sure you're doing 2 or 3 quests and getting a ton of faction tokens. I've always had a difficult time finding faction tokens, but ever since I found this out, the missions refresh every 5 minutes. So if you don't have a Lazarus quest, get rid of it. In 4 minutes, this will refresh, and there's a good chance it will be a Lazarus. So yeah, that's perfect. So that's how you want to get your orbs. Okay, let's go on to step 2 here. Okay, so first things first, you need 600 expertise in every slot. It's going to be a bit of a pain to get, but it's honestly not too bad. If you make your Genesis Orb and Lazarus Orb and buy your Genesis Orb and Lazarus Orb, go into Global and trade Orb for Orb, you'll end up getting 5 runs out of your 1 Orb. And honestly, if you're 570 and you run 10 Lazarus or 10 Genesis or, whatever, you're going to be pretty close to cap. Like, it doesn't take that much. It's a little boring, but just chain running Genesis and Lazarus are going to get you expertise capped faster than any other activity. So you're definitely going to want to do that. All right, so now that we have expertise up to 600 in every slot, the next thing we're going to want to do is get 600 gear in every slot, which can be a little expensive. But if you went ahead and pushed your expertise up by doing a bunch of Genesis and Lazarus runs, odds are you have an inventory full of okay legendaries. And that brings me to my next point. Okay legendaries are better than perfect 599s when you're getting started. If you look at this, so for level 1, the minimum gear score recommended is 602. You kind of want to be within 2 or 3 points of this gear score. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Like, look at my pendant. This is not this. I have mining luck on this pendant, and I still leveled this one up because it's worth it to have higher gear rather than to have the best gear lower. Like, having all 599 but perfect best in slot perks, you are going to do so much worse than somebody who has 615 gear score and, legendaries that all have crappy perks. The good perks, you definitely want them, but gear score matters more. So you are going to want to level up your gear score. Just a quick tip, when you're leveling and trying to get 600 jewelry, make sure to ask in general chat. You cannot look up old amulet, old earring, or old ring. You can't look those things up through the auction house. It's bugged. But people have 600 old jewelry, and they're willing to sell it for like $1,000 a pop sometimes 2, sometimes 3. But you go to the auction house and look for legendary jewelry, you're going to be looking 5 figures. So that's a good way to save some cash. Alright guys, the next thing to note here is that each piece of gear carries a different weight towards your gear score average. So you're going to want to level up your gear in the correct order. There's actually, somebody has made this awesome Umbral Shard gear optimizer. So what you're going to want to do, I'll leave the link in the description. First things first, you want to go to File, make a copy, or else you can't edit anything. Save it to your drive, whatever. I don't know what that is. But yeah, do that. All right, so now we are here and we can see exactly what we should upgrade. So let's say we just finished our first dungeon. We're going to push our weapons to both to 602, right? First thing we're going to want to do. Then it's going to tell you your next upgrade is your chest. All right, so we'll upgrade our chest to 2. So far we've spent 3, 6, 9. Back to weapon 1. I believe this costs 4. 13. Upgrade. Okay. Now legs. All right, so I believe this is the maximum you can get after running one M1 dungeon and golding. But yeah, right there, that's going to get you, I believe that'll be 602. If not, it'll be close. But you always want to refer to this chart so that you're leveling your gear optimally, right? You do not want to waste any Umbral Shards, and this is how you're going to do that. Another thing to note that I wish I knew at the start of this week and didn't, is that gypsum casts give you more Umbral Shards depending on what expertise the slot of that gypsum cast is. So, at level 600, let's say your helmet expertise is 600, you open a helmet gypsum cast, it's going to give you 3 Umbral Shards. But let's say you've leveled up your helmet to 615 and you open your cast for your helmet, you're going to get 32 shards. If you've leveled it all the way up to 625, you're getting 200 shards for opening the cast. So I'm not saying save your casts, but if you're planning on leveling something up soon, maybe just save them until after you've leveled that weapon up a little higher, right? If you're going to run a mutator and you got some casts, make sure you run the mutator, dump your shards, then open your cast so that you'll get more shards. It's not a huge difference, but you know, it adds up. So another thing here I think is worth noting is if you look at the reward setup here. So getting a gold in tier 1 is the same as getting a bronze in tier 2. Getting a gold in tier 2 is actually slightly worse. But let's see here. Last week we did the M6 and we actually ran the M6 3 times, right? So we ran this 3 times. We got gold all 3 times, but we just barely got gold. So we kept running the same level to grind out those shards. But if you look here, failing an M7 would have got us an extra 200 shards. So even if it took us an hour and a half and we got it done, we would have made 200 more shards, right? So a lot of times it is better to push the next level rather than to rerun the same level. That way you'll just end up making more shards. Okay, so this is kind of the last point I wanted to bring up, is the fact that look how much Umbral Shards you get for high level mutators. So I had spent, I ran an M1, I got 40, I ran another M1, I got 40, I ran an M2, I got 60, and I ran another M1. So I ran all of those just so I could level up my polished bone ring 1 level, right? Whereas, you know, now you could probably get up to 604, 605 gear score and have a much, much easier time pushing. What you need to remember is that it's all about getting to higher level mutators. If you can push a 6, you will get 800 for golding a 6. That is literally like golding an M3 10 times. So you really got to keep that in mind. You know, you want to push your expertise and your gear score as high as possible so you can push your mutator as high as possible and get a ton of shards up. Because once you're clearing M8, M9, M10, you can level anything you want from 599 to 600. That's nothing. That's nothing. But when you're getting started, do not do that, because those first few Umbral Shards are everything. All right, guys, so that's it. That's the entire guide. I really just wanted you guys to learn from the mistakes I made this week, because I made it so much harder on myself than it had to be. And this is just kind of all of the things I wish I knew at the start of the week. So I really, really hope it helps you guys. I hope it helps you push your mutator orbs higher, because higher orbs means more shards, means higher gear, means more fun. But I do plan on getting some mutator guides out soon. But as I've only pushed an M6, I don't really feel like I have authority on the topic. So until I push M10, at least M9, you won't be seeing any mutator guides from me. But hopefully this coming up week, I'll be able to push M10 and we'll start getting some guides out for you guys. Anyways, you dudes take care. Push those orbs as high as possible. And yeah, have a great one, hey? Take care, guys.